My name is Tim Ria, host of Digital Health Live here at the International CES 2015. We are actually back of the main stage studio, catching the speakers just as they come off stage, and it's just been a fascinating day. I want to thank WebMD for sponsoring the studio this year. So the topic today was how two CIOs, Chief Information Officers, are challenging the system. And a lot of this event's all about disruption and having people from outside of medicine or using new types of technology to make new things happen. So who he is here is we have Pravene Nath. Got that one right. Darren Dworkin, how are you?
Hello.
And Greg Caressi.
Yep. Hi. How you doing?
So you're from Frost & Sullivan.
Yeah, we're an analyst consulting firm. We work in the healthcare space across everything from connected health through medical devices, imaging, and then diagnostics, pharma, and life science tools like next generation sequencing, et cetera.
Okay. Your background?
Darren Dworkin, I'm the Chief Information Officer. I head up the technology teams at the hospital.
Pravene Nath, I'm the Chief Information Officer for Stanford Healthcare, obviously academic medical center. I have a background as a physician running the IT program now.
Okay, cool. So run me through the panel and kind of how it was set up.
Sure. So, we have two leading healthcare organizations and IT leaders in the field who we talked a lot about trying to bring in IT solutions and how we can use that to change the culture of their organizations and change the practice of medicine. We talked a little bit as well about the vendor side and helping vendors to understand how to work in complex healthcare organizations, because a lot of startups as well as IT firms, to be honest, they can speak to this more than me, come in without really understanding the complexity of healthcare, and they expect things to move a lot quicker. It's not just an IT change, it's a process change within an organization that is a difficult part of digital health.
And Darren, Cedars-Sinai in LA is an amazing institution. What are you doing there to change the game?
Well, we're trying to focus with regards to sort of technology in terms of figuring how we can bring in innovation a little bit sort of quicker into the organization. And so hopefully what we tried to cover today in the panel was give people some useful and good ways in which they can sort of approach us and find ways to sort of engage with large organizations. There's always a sort of a challenge of figuring out how to get new companies to sort of mesh their cultures with sort of big established companies. So hopefully we gave them some good tips.
Okay. So you guys have a relationship? You guys working together on projects?
Oh yeah, Darren and we compare notes. I try to steal anything I can from him. He's got a great program going for innovation. We've also built a program to get us exposed to the startups, really evaluate what they're doing and bring those pilots in. It's very important for us to really know what's happening and how fast things are changing in the industry. And it's also great to come and be able to participate in a panel like this so we can give some feedback to startups, help them engage with us in ways that are more productive and more efficient there.
So thinking back of the panel, what were some of the hot points you guys are covering?
I think, it's interesting to understand how to work with their organizations, and the fact that, the reality we see. I was listening to panels yesterday. One of the things that was really disappointing was to hear the waiting for reimbursement strategy is still out there, but both their organizations responded to that discussion, really, that they've already moved forward in terms of thinking about accountable care and thinking about capitated care and making decisions on purchasing new solutions, not just based on what's going to be immediate reimbursement, but what are some of the longer term impacts on health outcomes in a capitated world. And so that was exciting, and glad to hear that part.
Would you like to expand on that?
Yeah, it's interesting. Sort of startups typically are very excited to sort of jump into things, and I think that their view typically is a very sort of simplistic way of getting their product into sort of our organization. And so I think what we try to do is spend a bunch of time with them to really help them understand that it's a larger ecosystem. They have to find a way for their product to sort of fit within sort of the larger pieces that we're doing, and that sort of learning exercise I think sometimes takes a little bit longer than a startup might otherwise want. But hopefully we're starting to do sort of a job in terms of figuring out innovative ways for them to sort of come in and sort of approach us a little bit easier.
So you have like literally the dashboard for your whole organization and the maze and how to navigate that, and then you can educate folks on how to fit into that system.
Well, I love that visual of Wizard of Oz and the dashboard of everything. Unfortunately, I don't think we sort of quite have that. But we're trying to do some new things, and one of those things is we've created our own venture fund, and that venture fund is really sort of targeted at reaching specifically out to types of startups that we're looking for and bring them in on sort of, I don't want to say sort of necessarily our terms, but really sort of on not necessarily financially focused terms, but really sort of terms that are more focused on how to get the innovation live and in use faster.
So you're taking technology out of Stanford, combining them with entrepreneurs, or what's the tech transfer? How does that all work?
Yeah, Stanford has really grown up with a great culture of that kind of tech transfer. So we have lots of startups where our faculty are involved either in piloting or maybe in the inception of the idea itself. And so we'd love to see those things incubate. We also have an incubator, StartX, where...
Cool, yeah, so it is StartX.
Yeah, so StartX is sponsored by the university. The healthcare organization participates in that as well. And so we are formalizing the process by which we interact with these startups and then bring those pilots in selectively to put them right into the care environment.
Give me a use case example. Just tell me a story of a company coming in and working with you guys.
Sure. So there's a great company actually started off at StartX. It was Gauss Medical that really had a very innovative way of looking at blood loss. So here's one of these things where you wouldn't stereotypically sort of think that there wasn't a great scientific way to measure blood loss during emergency room procedure. But it turns out it's a very subjective process right now. And so Gauss has come up with some amazing technology, taking sort of a consumer iPad, figuring out how to sort of use the camera to really sort of use the light to understand sort of the blood and sort of make some measurements sort of from that. And so we're working with them. And so here's an example of a company that had a great idea, needed sort of more of a wet lab and a place to be able to sort of perfect their idea. And really what we were able to sort of offer them was a chance not just to sort of get a commercial contract, maybe not just a chance to raise some funding, but really probably the most valuable was really access to a wet lab and the experts that are within our organization to help inform and sort of shape their product. And so our goal is to try to sort of do more of that.
That's super innovative.
We hope so.
Okay. Anything like
Pretty cool technology. I've seen it. They just basically hold each of the sponges up in front of the camera, and it determines the volume of blood that is contained in the sponge, as opposed to making a judgment call and entering data. Yeah.
So CES is a massive event, and there's a lot of people here. What are you trying to get out of the Digital Health Summit and the event this year beyond what might be expected?
So from our seat, we're an analyst firm, so we're just trying to track what's going on in space, look for new companies, see something that we think is innovative, and just understand overall the trends of what's coming out, what are the things that people are putting on the floor, how are they being accepted, those type of things.
Okay. What should people know about Stanford and your program, and how can they link in with it?
I would say we're investing significantly in digital health. We're building and expanding a program for virtual care. This year we're launching our virtual primary care called the ClickWell Clinic. So patients in our accountable care program will have the ability to interact with a physician online, and we're integrating connected devices into that. So we're really getting into this space, and we're putting it into practice in a scalable way for real patients across the community.
What's the best way for people to interface with you and to tap your expertise and be part of your programs?
Lots of ways. Reach out directly to us at sort of Cedars-Sinai. We're always interested in sort of new ideas and sort of new ways to sort of look at things. Specifically, there's the venture fund, Summation Health Ventures. And so
what was it called?
Summation Health Ventures. So that's another opportunity if folks are sort of more interested directly in approaching us that way. But I'd say at the end of the day, our focus is really around sort of driving quality care within sort of the Cedars organization. And so we're really sort of excited about sort of the transformations that are happening on that side.
So the last round is, how do we connect up with you guys? A website or email? I mean, not email, but LinkedIn?
Sure. Frost & Sullivan, we have a website, obviously, and we have a healthcare team. A part of that, my name is Greg Caressi, and you can just find me on LinkedIn under Greg Caressi.
Cool. Thanks, Greg.
Cedarsinai.org, great organization. Encourage you to take a look.
Okay.
Same, StanfordHealthcare.org, and we'll have links up there for companies that want to participate in our innovation program, and I'm available on LinkedIn as well.
Is there anything hot event-wise or things that you guys are going to next after CES?
I'm still excited to decipher the entire library of devices, so still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, okay.
Well, HIMSS is coming up. We just did Digital Health Summit, or excuse me,
Mobile Health Summit.
Yeah.
Say hi to our friends at HIMSS. Hi, guys. And my name's Tim Maria. You got anything big coming up at Stanford?
I'll be at HIMSS.
Yeah, we'll be at HIMSS. All right. Well, thanks a lot for being on the show. Thanks for your time, and thanks Jill Gilbert and WebMD for making this all happen. Cheers.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.